Hi and welcome to today's live webinar. We'll be going through an introduction to no-code, low-code. My name's Victoria Gregg. I will be your host. And on this point, I'm just going to go through a quick housekeeping. So hopefully everything will run smooth, but of course we're live, so things can go wrong. If you do find you get disconnected, you can always just re-log in using the same link that you registered for this webinar with, and you'll be able to get straight in. One of the things I would really love is this to be really interactive. So on the bottom right hand corner, whether you've got a desktop, a laptop or a smartphone, there is something called a chat functionality. Feel free to introduce yourselves even now, so then I can check that and check that you can hear me okay. And then the queue right next to it, which I get a lot of questions, is it is a questions tab. So if you could, and you remember, if you can filter the questions that you have into the questions tab, and then general chat, confirmation, even between you, because I know a lot of you will agree with whatever the presenter is going to say or not say, then please use that functionality. And on that note, because I can see everyone saying hi, so hi, thank you all for joining. I'm going to kick off to the agenda. Our first topic is going to be what is no-code, low-code. Then we're going to look at what the differences are between no-code and low-code. And finally, we'll be looking at how does that impact the SDL lifecycle, which is the software development lifecycle. And really, we're focusing on digital transformation projects. So let's kick off. What is no-code, low-code? And on that point, I'm going to hand over to our presenter, Paul, today, who will walk us through it.
Thank you, Vicky. Hi, let me firstly fully introduce myself. My name is Paul George. I'm a Senior Solutions Consultant at TAP. TAP stands for the Agile Applications Platform. And TAP is in fact a no-code platform for building business applications. So what is no-code, low-code? You may or may not have heard of it before. It's a relatively new term. However, everyone will be familiar with the term soon, as it's creating quite a stir in the world of business applications. No-code, low-code is relatively simple to use software that creates applications. It enables users with little or no development skills to build applications and software systems. And the degree of simplicity really depends on the platform that you use.
Okay, what's quite nice is I've had quite a lot of people are agreeing with you. They've never heard of it. We've got actually, I think I saw about 4 people that have.
Yeah.
There's about 70% of us haven't. So that's good to know that it's not that term out there yet, but it is growing, and we know that is when you start searching for it. So let's jump in and dive a bit deeper. What are the differences between no-code and low-code? So for me, if I have a question almost for you and for the audience, when I've Googled, those two terms seem to be stuck together. Like every article, blog post is always like no-code, low-code, or low-code, no-code. I don't even know which way we should be saying it.
Yeah.
So is there a difference? And if there is, can you actually go into a little bit more detail about each one of those?
Yeah, sure. So firstly, it's quite common to hear the terms no-code, low-code, or hear the term no-code, low-code. No-code and low-code are very different, and the clues in the description. So with no-code, if you build an application using no-code, a no-code application platform, you are not coding. You do not need to be a developer, and you do not need technical skills. However, if you are using a low-code application platform or something that's a blend of the two, because we do have and we do hear of application platforms that are called and labelled no-code, low-code. Well, if you're using one of those, you will absolutely need somebody with development skills to help create an application. It could be that there's an element of no-code and an element of low-code, and that's why they've described themselves as a no-code, low-code application platform.
So Paul, just to reiterate there then, so basically from my summary, I'm trying to read into this question. So you can actually create complex applications using no code. You don't need to, so let me re-summarize that. So like no code is not just for a simple application. You can actually create complex applications in no code and also low code. Is that right?
That's right, yes. So you really need to look at the application platform. There are going to be some that are more capable than others. Now, you'd expect that, if it's a no-code platform, it's going to be less capable than something that's a low-code platform, but that is not in fact true. You really need to assess each platform on their own merit and their own capabilities. So, for instance, there are definitely no-code only platforms that are vast and complex and in their capability. Complex is probably the wrong word, but they're vast in their capability, and they can actually address very complex process requirements.
Can I ask another quick question, or confirm what I think is correct? So someone has just put here in the chat that, so really this is about the type of user that's using the technology. So no code would be for someone that's not technical, but then someone that is maybe a pro developer, they would use low code. So it's not about the complexity of no code is only for simple things. It's more about the user behind it. And actually someone else, let me just double check this. So someone else is the same. For example, I'm a business analyst. I know my business process, so they could actually create on no code.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And that could be a complex application if it's so big.
Yeah. A business analyst, a project manager, or a sort of subject matter expert of a process, and that could be someone who's sort of a manager of that operation. Those are the best people and the kind of people that you want to use for no-code application development. Those guys will not have or shouldn't have development skills. That probably isn't the career path that they've taken. However, they've obviously got great skills in analysing process and looking at ways that you can improve it. And if you couple that with a no-code platform, application build platform, and give people access to that with those kind of skills and that kind of knowledge, they are the perfect candidates to build applications.
I'm getting a lot of questions, Paul, and confirmations of what you've just said, which is really good. And people are asking, can we dive a bit more? How does it affect the software development cycle? Like, how quick is it? I think you're going to cover this.
Yep.
So we're going to cover about times, why it's quicker, any kind of things you need to think about. So let's just go ahead and hand over to you. So our last topic is really about how does no-code, low-code impact the software development lifecycle?
Yeah. So obviously, Vicky, I was ready for that question because that was one of the topic questions there. So it basically will make that cycle much shorter if you use a no-code or low-code application platform to develop your business applications. If you are coding, the software development lifecycle can be quite long, and it can involve many people, and you mean project managers, business analysts, obviously the subject matter experts of the process needs to be involved in that development too, and of course that then needs to be all handed over and then managed with the developers to actually build the application. So that whole cycle, right from the beginning point where it's being discussed and scoped as a solution to the point that it's delivered and gone live, can easily be months, and in some cases I've heard that being over a year.
I'm just jumping in here. Lots of people are saying like from 9 months. I've got someone here saying, quite a few people here saying 18 months. So they're asking, sorry to interrupt you, but I think it's good. They're asking and say, can you give us some timescales? Like, what are we looking at against traditional developments, life cycles?
Yeah, so if you are using a no-code, low-code platform, so you can bring that timescale in quite some time. Commonly, we see no-code applications, low-code applications built within, can be days, but commonly more weeks, and maybe at the most for something quite complex, a couple of months at the most. And that's the full cycle. That's from the scoping point to the point where it's gone live. But the reason why it's much quicker, and we're probably talking on average about 20 times faster to do it that way, and that means the reason for that is that you do not have to use technical project managers in that process. You obviously are not using developers at all. If you're doing no code, if it's low code, you're using developers, but probably not at the degree you would commonly for absolutely for a coded delivery, not using a platform. So yeah, the cycle is brought right in.
So I had someone else now also type something. Does that mean that, is this where we see quotes online about reduced costs and the cost of implementation?
Yes, absolutely. So obviously the time that is being used to build the application, to design it, to scope it, and all the people, the costs for those people, could be multiple project managers, And you can get that on both sides of the fence as well. So if you've got a customer and you're actually building a business app that's going to have customer access to that, you might want to involve your customer in that too. And they might well have their own sort of project managers that want to sort of be part of that process. So yeah, if you're using a no-code, low-code platform, you are building applications much more agile. You're not using developers. You're not using project managers. It's going to be much quicker, and thus it's going to be less cost because you're not so many headcount on there. It's quicker, so it's going to be a lower cost, obviously, again, because you are not spending too much time on it either.
Okay, thank you. I think we've covered all the questions so far. People are saying thank you, and they've now got a good roundup. What I would say is we will be doing another webinar next week, and we will focus on citizen development. What we didn't want to do is muddle citizen development with no-code, low-code. So we'll be talking about just purely citizen development, literally a roundup like we are doing here. So in the meantime, I'm going to flip to my last slide. We're already getting lots of people saying thank you, Paul. They've got a clear understanding now of what no-code, low-code, or at least an understanding from nothing. If you do want to reach out to Paul, hopefully this is okay, Paul, I have your email address here for everybody. Please reach out to Paul personally or on our website, contact us with any other questions that you have, because if you're like me, there's always a question that I forgot to ask when I'm on a webinar and I'm like, oh, I wish I could have asked that. So please reach out to us, and we will send you the recording of this video so you can rewatch it back if there's anything you want to watch. And then finally, we will send you out an invite for next week's webinar. So thank you from behalf of us.
Thank you.